We're back Monday 23rd, day 13 of $0 to $100,000 per month because I'm a guy who really doesn't love myself, it seems. But yeah, this month so far, it's October. This month, oh shit, I really should calculate this. I think we've hit 10k. Yeah, I'm lying, no. We've hit about 9k, just shy of 10k this month so far. So $10,000 that is. So we're doing all right. 10% of the way there in terms of what we're able to achieve on a monthly basis. The dilemma that I've got is I kind of like had a bit of brain fog last week, so I don't feel like I performed as well as I should have. Like I don't know what it was. My head just went in it, and there were days where I could have done way more, and I was just shattered, man. I was so tired. But this week's a new week. I feel revitalized. Last week we sold out in boot camp, which it used to be a standard thing for us, but these days it's not really a given. But I'm happy we're getting there again, and it feels good to be in such a position. Where's my head at? That's like, to me, that's my bare minimum. That should be the thing that I achieve every month at minimum. And right now, that was like one boot camp. Let me get my notes. Let me get my notes up because I want to chat to you guys about something. I've got this thing called the Penthouse. Penthouse. I don't even know what it's called. Penthouse minimum. Alright, so like I said, that's my bare minimum. For the things that I want to be able to do in life, the things I want to be able to achieve in life, that's the bare minimum I need to be able to essentially get to where I want to go. Now, I've got a few things in my penthouse minimum, and I can't show you my laptop because it's really messy right now, but I'll walk you through what's going on. So it first reads, Future Zaire. If you feel lost, you initially wrote this when you hit rock bottom in your skyrise flat with food in your fridge and love in your house. This list is who you are becoming, what you see yourself as what you see as your minimum for the baseline of the life you strive for. And I wrote this initially August 31st, 2023. It reads, as cliche as this shit is, it's a reminder that you're still not shit until you live in this guide as a baseline standard. So I don't want to call them high goals because I feel like they're just what I see. And I feel like if you want to be somebody, you got to embody who your future self is and what that person might do and how they may act. So you're killing yourself a little bit in terms of your sense of whatever the present person is. And that's how I see it. My penthouse minimum standard follows this pattern. So the first one is floss thrice a day. You gotta floss. Dental hygiene is important. Hygiene in itself is important. So I just want to floss a bit more. Like I feel like you can't ever floss you can probably. And I want to visit the dentist every 6 months. I'm a person who doesn't like going to the dentist. I go to the dentist on a yearly basis at least, but I can't lie, going to the dentist is usually a bit of a shaky one for me. So yeah, that's that. And then that's just who I want to become. That's the person I want to be. I want the dentist to be like, it's me again. Yeah, everything's good. Boom, outside the door. No, you know what? We've got to do this. We've got to do that. I don't want that in my life anymore. And yeah, that's like the hygiene bracket because shit, I'm doing all right otherwise. In terms of lifestyle, I never want to skip lunch, man. I want to get to a point where I don't get to skip lunch. I want to get to a point where I don't get to skip dinner. And the way how I see that working out is I need to get to a specific goal or specific income level where, for me, I've got a chef. I've got a chef that cooks at least my lunch and dinner every day, and I can deal with the rest, aka breakfast and any snacks around that. And that's my minimum. I feel like if I want to work and I want to perform at the best of my ability, things should be catered to me. The way how I see business and entrepreneurship is like being an athlete. Athletes, they have breakfast. Well, sometimes they have the breakfast, sometimes they have the lunch, and dinner's catered for them. And if I'm playing that sort of sport, I need to treat myself as if I'm one of those. And by doing so, I have got it in my list to never skip lunch and never skip dinner at least. And the way how I do that, I solve the problem by getting enough income to get a chef. Now, depends on where you are in the world, but private chefs, eh, you know what? I'm realizing how different my life is already at, like my world view is now that I'm here versus where I started. I was gonna say they're not that much, maybe a 30, what's that, like 40K salary a year, and that's like someone who's gonna do pretty much everything you need and a little bit more, and that's like a part-time salary, semi part-time salary. I looked into it, but if you want to go higher end, you could. I don't mind getting to the point where I could afford to, spend maybe a bit more than that on a chef and have even better food. Even that's probably going to be the same food if I'm honest. You're just paying for the name, but at the same point, at the same like this, it doesn't even matter. Who cares, man? Who cares? If you can do it, you can do it. And I feel like that's the bare minimum of where I want my standard to be, where we can just have someone take care of that sort of stuff. Because I want to be able to not think about things like that. I don't like cooking that much. I like cooking steaks and lobster, but I don't like cooking anything else. And I don't even like cooking that all that much. I just do it because I enjoy the food so much. So I do it. I want to do I want to do zone 2 heart rate workouts 4 times a week. So just some bare minimum stuff again, some baseline aerobic fitness. Make sure that I've got a decent level of cardio. I'll throw zone 3 in it, of course, but like at the minimum, I do that workout 4 times a week. Currently, I'm not doing that shit 4 times a week. My walks are like zone 2, but like I'm not really classing my walk as exercise. My daily walks with my dog and stuff, I'm not classing those as exercise, but at least I'm still moving. That's good. But in future, I want to move a bit more. In the past, when I wrote this, I was still exercising fairly frequently. But yeah, at some point, how am I to get to this point? So one of the things that I might do, I will do, is I'll hire a trainer. I liked, there was a video that Sam Ovens had where he shows you that he's got a trainer that lives in his apartment with him, full-time trainer and somewhat of a nutritionist. I think having that sort of person around me where I can have a trainer that lives in with me or lives in an apartment or house next door to me, however we figure it out, we'll figure it out, and we'll have a trainer, someone that's job is there. They're literally there to make sure my fitness levels are good. If my body works, my head works, and I can, sustain the battering that I probably will sustain being an entrepreneur or just me as a person. So I want to offload the thought of having to set up a workout. All I do is turn up. I know what to do. I do it, and that person tells me to do it, and I do it because I want the long-term benefits of being fit and healthy. So, that's what we do. And I want to be able to see my family once a week. I'm a guy with a lot of family, so it doesn't necessarily need to be one specific, my immediate family, but it could be my extended family. It could be, other people in my family group. And I want to be able to get to the point where at some point my lifestyle permits me to be able to see them once a week, whether I'm flying somewhere or whether they come to me or whether they're in the same place as I am. Like I said, I've got family all over the place, so it's not so bad. And that's something that I'd like to do. I spent a lot of time already in my 28 years, the past 12 years, I'm not 28 yet, but the past 11 to 12 years, I've spent a lot of time avoiding experiences with family because I've been on a mission to achieve certain things. Looking back, I definitely could have done it, and I wouldn't have missed out that much. If anything, I probably would have had even more perspective. But at the same time, that was what I believe the cost was to get to this point. So that's why I do I've done I've done that stuff in the past. Okay, let's get to the next stage. Let's go. Read daily. I do this fairly often anyway. I read most days. If not, I could say I read daily with ease. I consume a lot of content, man. I consume a lot of content, whether it's written content, audiobooks, talks. Yeah, I do that fairly well. Why do I do it? Because my job at this current stage of the company that I'm running is to be on the ground and be involved in every aspect of its overall experience for the most part. But, you know, the way how I see my job is I'm not supposed to be on the field. If this is football, I am Pep Guardiola. I should have a setup that works around me and allows me to execute and work with the star players that I, bring into the team and I want to work with to achieve something greater. My job shouldn't be to play on the pitch. My job should be to come up with the right strategies and lead the team in the right direction to be able to achieve glory. And that's why I read daily, because I like to consume content and things that can help me out and educate me on how to be a better person, and also learn how to, be a better businessman, marketer, product guy, designer. Who else? Who knows? I also read some non-fiction. I love those. Well, I read some fiction, but usually it's non-fiction. So yeah, ooh, this is one. Anything less than a penthouse lifestyle is less than I deserve. Sounds arrogant, right? I don't know. I don't care. Like, to me, it's like I've grown up in I've grown up in council housing most of my life. I've always wanted things bigger than where I started. And in my head, it's like, okay, you've made it to this point. Always have a desire to achieve more. Someone could say, oh, is there anything that's ever enough? It's like, I don't know. I'll let you know when I get there. But in my head, like, let's go for a penthouse at minimum. To give you an idea, where I live in Manchester, penthouse here, decent one, maybe about just shy of £4,000 a month, pre-bills. After bills, I think it's like maybe 4,600, 4,700, depends on what your situation is. But yeah, to be able to spend £4,700, let's say, on your living, just where you live. In my head, if you're doing that, you should have some good fixed assets, ideally, or at least be very close to having them over the line. Or if not, have an income that's 10 times that amount. So it's negligible. It's not negligible. It's just insignificant. I to be fair, that's how I see it. So in my head, one of the reasons why I want to get my 0 to 100k a month, that is getting to profit. Of course, for the sake of this, I'll do gross, but really, we want to talk profit. We don't want to talk gross because it's gross. Pun terribly intended. But you get the point. 10% of my income, that doesn't mean when I hit 60,000 or 50,000 a month, I'm going to instantly go, oh yeah, let's get, penthouse apartment. Been there, don't really want to do that just yet. I want to get to a point where the profit is, ridiculously high, that the apartment's paid off. But not just that, I want to be able to have fixed assets, as I said. So one of the problems that I've realized in going from nothing to something to not quite nothing, nowhere near, no, not close to nothing, but close to having it slip away, it's fixed assets, man. And it's not to say I want to be a landlord, because let's be honest, that's not the most glamorous job in the world. And it's really lazy, man. Not for me. But I'm not gonna say no to it. But it's not an aspiration, nowhere near it. But I know that might be a good avenue to have a fixed asset. I might think of things like that. I might think of other form of, let's say, non-risky businesses. I might think of, more local, businesses, laundromat, random idea, stuff like the stuff that's never ever going out of date, that sort of stuff. And I might have those as my fixed assets. They're not fixed assets. No, I'm chatting so much shit. I might buy land, for instance. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. Or buy gold, things that don't really move. So yeah, that's the minimum. I'm getting caught up on this point. I have this thing. It says chores aren't real. Hire someone. As mentioned, if I'm an athlete and I see myself in that light, I don't want to do chores. Not to say athletes don't do chores. Many probably do. I want to be a superstar. I want my schedule or the value of my work and my time to be so significant. I don't have to think about chores because everything's taken care of. I want to live in a way where it allows me to just focus on providing the most amount of value to the projects, the companies, the people I'm involved with, and doing household stuff, unless it's intentional and I'd like to do it, I don't want to do it. I never even want to think about it, if I'm honest. I grew up I grew up doing chores really early. Like I used to iron my clothes to go to school, and not like people don't do that, because I'm not saying I lived in a very terrible condition. No, nothing near that. But for some reason, I wanted to be a busybody when I was a kid, and I started learning how to iron and be domesticated. Maybe about 10 years old. So yeah, I was in school ironing stuff, and it looked fun when you were a kid until you realize you're in secondary school and no one wants to iron your stuff, and you've got to do that stuff. So it's like, I don't like chores, man, and I don't like any. I don't want to think about them. I always thought there's a better use of my time, even if it's just sleeping or watching TV. I'd rather entertain myself than have to do that. And I know that it may come across. Okay, I don't care, man. This is what I want for me. Whatever. I know that there's always going to be a problem with someone on the internet depressing a bunch of people sometimes, but that's just life, innit? Can't please everyone. You need a chef, otherwise you're wasting time, is my next point. I do need a chef, otherwise I'm wasting time. I've got to that point before, so let's not go into it again. I have something that says McDonald's is disgusting. I don't really like I don't mind fast food, but I just don't like McDonald's like that. Like, I'll eat it, but I need to tell myself it's disgusting to put myself off trying to eat it. Don't eat it very often, maybe once every 2-3 months, if that, very infrequently. But I never want to know what the price of a Happy Meal is. I don't want my children to have McDonald's. I don't want my family to eat that stuff. I don't want them to eat processed foods. It's like that very shitty processed food, man. It's not good for you, and I don't feel like if you're an athlete, you're going to eat that. You're not going to consume stuff like that regularly, and you're not going to want to, ideally, unless you need the carbs and whatnot. But like, shit, it's just not great, in it. Walk my dog daily. Goes without saying, I walk my dog most days, but what I'd like to do is eventually get to a point where regimen and having some more structure in my life is entertaining. And one of the things that I would like to do is have maybe a better structure with walking the dog. Maybe that's in the morning, we exercise together, or like we do something before. Yeah, however that works. I could just get someone else to walk the dog every now and then. Could be the case. So yeah, there's a few things on that front. And that's like lifestyle. 1 minute, let me get my dog, because she's actually knocking the door. 1 minute. Oh yeah, come on. Anyway. Come, yeah. Alright. The dog was doing her thing, innit? She's down there. Alright, so let's get to the next point. Inflows, income, money, that thing. So this is actually kind of controversial now I think about it. Actually, I'll put it out there. Because again, this is who I'm trying to be. The first point. 20,000 net monthly is still poor. What do I mean by this? I want that to be a very poor month. I want that to be a month where I'm unhappy. Things had to go wrong for it to get to that point. And if that's the minimum standard, I will, of course, be striving to achieve more. And if that's the minimum standard, that's like, it gets really bad. The reason why I put this number as poor is because there are certain things that I would like to spend my net income on. One of them is housing for my family, to ensure things like mortgages are taken care of, my own mortgage if I have one, or mortgages, I don't know. Things like education. So I'd like to have my nephews in some sort of, whether it's private education, whether it's, I don't get, whatever's best for them. I would like them and like, my sister and stuff or whatever. I'd like them to be able to have the choice and the freedom, as well as like the options to have like extracurricular activities, whether some of that money goes to tuition and hiring the best sort of tutors that money can buy. I'd like that. And that also might include making sure they're fed, making sure money goes into their savings accounts, their investment accounts. That's the sort of thing that I'd be, looking to do with that sort of money. On top of that, that might be, it might be about 4 or 5K a month. My mum, I want to make sure my mum and like my stepdad, I don't really like the word stepdad. He's basically my dad. They're taken care of. I'd like them to not have to. I'd like them to have part-time jobs if they want, or not work at all if they want. And for that, I will need. Thankfully, they have a lesser budget than myself for entertainment, so maybe another 6K, 7K each. And that's a lot of capital that they would spend, and they don't really spend much money on stuff, so that'll take care of a lot of stuff, holidays and stuff like that. Yeah. So already we're at about 10. Let's round it up to 10. Then the remaining 10 is for whatever I want to do. But at the same time, it's too close to just being my only 10, so that's why it's still poor. It's poor performance. I don't want to do that. 50K is all right. I like the thought of 50K a month, because if we're getting closer to that mark, that means I've got runway. My family, I can take care of them. It only takes 2 months of profit and 50K, just over 2 months, to know that like I've bought them a year of just a good, a higher standard of living, just from my work and the things that I've been involved in. Also, 50K, I feel like you get to do more fun things, whether that's travel to wherever you want and not think about these things, not have to think about money, you just spend. You can do that. I want to be able to travel more frequently. Like I've told you in the past, I've not left the country in like 3 years, man. I spent a lot of time just not working. And even before then, I never really left the country that often. Ever since I was like a teen, I stopped going on holidays more because my mum used to pay for them. And I'd like to do more of that stuff. I'd like to be able to be in different parts of the world. I'd like to be able to have experiences. I'd like to be able to go to Formula One races, like all of them, if I wanted to. And these are the sorts of stuff. To me, 50K net monthly is a standard where you get to do certain things that are fun, and you've crossed a threshold where I feel like you can live, and you probably don't have to worry about money if you're doing that net monthly. You won't have to worry about money because you're good to some extent. I'd say 75K is good. At this stage of my life and what I can envisage, 75K is good. Net monthly. At that point, you're netting $1 million a year. Great. You could do most of the things. You could pretty much do anything you want apart from buy Ferraris every week. Well, maybe you can, but it depends. It's the special ones you can't really buy like that. But yeah, that's where it's at. And then it goes up to 500K net monthly is great. That's when it becomes great. I think that's where you become a superstar and you're starting to do superstar related things. Maybe not a superstar, but you get in there. You see where I'm going with these numbers. It becomes even more like, shit, what does that look like? 1 million net monthly is even better than being great. Of course it is. What can you do with 1 million a month? I can't comprehend it yet, but I can't wait to find out. Why? Because I believe there's a lot of good that I can involve myself in, whether that's investing in, startups, putting my own money into new ventures, finding ways to improve improve things that I care about, donate to causes that I care about with, with great significance. Maybe help my family's island out. I've got the resources and I can give and donate a lot more and build infrastructure. I can build things. I can do things that actually, that matter for people that I know personally that may, say we don't really struggle. We don't struggle, but people that could do with the opportunities, people that could do better education, better healthcare, better hospitals, better resources for themselves, yes, and their future children. And if me having $1 million a month, I can donate, say, even if I donated 2 million a year, 4 million a year, I could still comfortably live off all of the money that I'd have anyway, but still make a difference to the Caribbean and other places that I have affinity to and I care about. So yeah, there's that. And then, I feel like 5 million net monthly is where the fun begins. Truly superstar level. At that point, who cares? Like, you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about money anymore. You are the superstar. If we're talking athlete analogies, this is the apex. You're in the apex territory. And that's where I see these numbers going. And that's what I care for, man. I'd like to achieve these numbers over the next, 10 years of my life and get to that point where it's much more tangible. Maybe 5 mil a month comes sooner. Who knows? But we'll find out, right? I've been talking to you lot for a while. I've realized we're like 26 minutes in. Thankfully, we're on the last 2 points, yeah? My last points are community. And one of them is give something back to those less fortunate weekly. I don't need all the money in the world to do that. At the moment, I do things like I give my time a lot. And that's one thing that money can't buy, of course. Not an idiot. I'm an idiot, but not that much of an idiot. So yeah, there's that. I give time at the moment. At some point, I'll start giving money again when I know that I'm profiting better and I'm able to use my resources for better things and more people. So yeah, I'll do that. And as mentioned, you've seen what I could do with some of the other money, or like what someone can do with the money. Yeah. And I want to donate 5 to 10% of my income monthly. I'd like to do that. I'd like to do that to things that I believe in, or building infrastructures that I believe will help tomorrow's future, generations. Why do I want to do that? Mostly because my family gives a lot and they gave a lot to me, and with what resources I will hopefully amass within my lifetime, I believe I can have a profound difference. I'd like to give as much as possible, if I'm honest. If anyone's wondering how much I've given away over Love Circular's my career at Love Circular, we've probably given away the equivalent to maybe £400,000 worth of scholarships, opportunities, donations. We bought schools laptops. We've donated to charities, thousands of pounds to charities. There have been scenarios where people's parents or grandparents have, been ill, or like there may be bereavement related causes, and we've donated to those. I've given more laptops away than I know how many I've purchased. I've given a lot of stuff away, and a big part of, at times when you hit rock bottom, you think to yourself, oh, I told you so. Probably shouldn't have given away. Like, there's a devil in your ear, or the devil on your shoulder, and the angel on your shoulder now, and the devil's like, maybe you shouldn't have given all those people things. Maybe you shouldn't have spent that money or gave it away. But the angel on my shoulder goes, look how many things were given to you, how much love was given to me, how many resources, how many people spent their time on me and nurtured me into the person I am. And shit, it makes me not regret what I did. I mean, it would be nice, but yeah, like, you're good. And I don't feel like I would want to stop giving. So yeah, we're going to keep going. We'll see what happens, man. hopefully I can build schools and stuff like that. Cool stuff where I'm more involved in education and, you know, longer term infrastructure of maybe countries, islands. I don't know. God knows. Who knows where we're going to go with it. But yeah, that's day 13. I thought I'll switch up because I didn't really do much today. Not yet. I've done quite a bit of teaching. I've probably done like 3.5 hours, 4 hours. So I've been talking for quite a bit today and it hurts my head. So now I'm just going to go to do some marketing work and eat some food late. But guess what? I'm not recording this after 12. I told you something like that better. It's about 11:10, so I started filming a little earlier. And if it weren't for me getting this like pop filter thing, I would have been recording from like 9:30. So yeah, did all right. But yeah, thank you for everyone who's like following the journey, man. And I hope this video, I don't know what I hope from it. Like, you might call me a cunt for all I care, and I couldn't give a shit. So here we are, and I'm happy that I get to do this for a living. It's kind of weird because I've had so many jobs, man. I've been a cleaner, I'm not going to go on a tangent. We'll talk about that another day. But yeah, peace, everyone. There's love.